Hi guys, and welcome to the Versus series. I'm Jesse Snyder. Some of you might recognize me from my Vorthos' Magic articles I wrote a little bit ago. I'm going to try to get back into it, but today I'm here to talk to you about Commander is what we're going to be doing here in the Versus series. I'm very excited. It is my second favorite format of Magic, right behind Two-Headed Giant. I'm firmly planted in the kitchen table, and I'm very excited. I have a lot of fun with this format, and I'm excited to share my deck with you, and I brought with us today He Who Paints the Ground Red, Thraximundar. And I'm kind of a sucker for a tribal theme. When I first started playing Magic, it was during the Onslaught block, and so tribal decks are always just kind of in my blood, and my favorite tribe is zombies, surprise, surprise, and so that's what I brought here. Thrax is my general, like I said. He's pretty good. He's got some pretty sweet abilities when he actually enters the battlefield, but I don't cast him all that more often, as I have what I lack in big, powerful bombs. I make up for it with synergies, and that's kind of what I want to go over with you guys. Is first and foremost, we got lords. We got all kinds of zombie lords, and two kind of honorary zombie lords here with Brass Herald and Adaptive Automaton. Is we have a lot of token generators through different means, such as Endless Ranks of the Dead, a couple of creatures, Lich Lord, I believe of Unks, making some zombie tokens for us. We've got a Grave Titan here, and so with all these lords and making all these little zombies, you can really flood the board with just an overwhelming force of zombies. And there's things like Coat of Arms, Eldrazi Monument, and Door of Destiny. These artifacts will do the same kind of business as your lords down here, and that can really get out of hand if left unchecked. And we have our lords, we have our artifacts to bump up basically every creature in the deck that we make. We only run maybe one or two non-zombies in it, one of which being Grave Titan. But where the real synergy comes into play is with the actual individual zombie cards, enchantments, and the interactions between them. Is first and foremost, I want to talk about Gravecrawler. He is kind of the MVP of the deck. He's going to be our sacrifice fodder for things like attrition, where you sacrifice one of your guys, you can destroy a non-black creature. Things like Diabolic Intent, sacrifice a creature, go search for a card in your library, put it in hand. All kinds of effects that Sam Black would be really proud of. But what I like to think of is Master and Blaster here, for those of you who just can't get beyond Thunderdome, is these guys can really bump up Grimgrin here. And since he's a zombie already in play, you can keep casting and sacrificing, and make him just absurd. To a lesser extent, you can do the same thing with Carrion Feeder. Carrion Feeder can't block, but he can get out there a lot quicker, and you can get this interaction going by turn 2, if not sooner, if you have any kind of ritual effects. But one of the most important sacrifice outlets, for this deck at least, is this bad boy from Onslaught over here, is Corpse Harvester. 1 and a black, sacrifice a creature, search your deck for a zombie card and a swamp card, and put them both in hand. This is basically how you go find the tools that you're going to need to get through the damage, and basically just put your opponent in the ground if left unchecked. You can tutor up basically any creature, and then of course ramping up, finding yourself some swamps. And a couple of good cards that I like to tutor up is Plague Bearer is one of them. If your opponent is running a lot of, say, token-based strategies with Avenger of Zendikar or anything like that, is since tokens don't have a casting cost, and Plague Bearer destroys target non-black creature with total casting cost of double X. If X is 0, then 1 black mana, destroy, a token. And if we're all ramped up and have some of our Cabal coffers, we can really clean up quite a bit of tokens with him. And also, just as kind of a cute, sneaky kind of thing that you can do is these two lovely ladies right here, Phage the Untouchable and Zombie Trailblazer. Phage, I think everybody knows about. She basically has Ultra Death Touch, in that if she touches a player, you or your opponent, they're dead. But what Zombie Trailblazer can do is if you tap an untapped zombie you control, you can turn any land into a swamp. And if you tap another zombie, you can give target zombie a swamp walk till end of turn. So Phage, thanks to the great creature errata, is now technically a zombie, is we can make one of our opponents lands a swamp if it's not already, and then give her swamp walk, and you're dead. So that's some of the good utility creatures you can find. There's also a Helldozer and an Unliving Psychopath in here. Helldozer, of course, destroys lands, which is not something I really like to do in Commander, because it is more of a casual format, and usually I'm playing with my friends around the kitchen table, so. But sometimes, you know, they get a Maze of Ith in play, and sometimes you gotta blow it up. And so that's what he's there for. There's a couple other key players in the deck, but going along with the creatures, the other permanents is we have a series of enchantments that can create some really kind of degenerate things if you get two or more of them in play. Of course, I already talked about attrition and Gravecrawler being able to blow up troublesome creatures. But things like Grave Pact and Grave Betrayal, whenever, say, a creature that you control dies, like, say, sacrificing Gravecrawler, they sacrifice a creature. And if you have another zombie in play, you can make them sack quite a bit of their board, just unequivocally. They just have to get rid of their guys. But if you also have Grave Betrayal in play, not only do they have to sacrifice their guys, but then you get their guys as zombies on your side. So if they're not going to blow up your enchantments and kind of let you do your own thing, is you can basically take their creatures and use them against them, which is perfect for the zombie theme. And Call to the Grave, just another way to make them sacrifice creatures, and that's also what Thrax does. And something I usually forget about old Thraxy here is it's whenever an opponent sacrifices a creature, not just when he attacks. So if, say, Grave Pact or like an Edict effect makes him sacrifice a guy, he still gets a +1/+1. It's not just based on attack, which is something I forget, but it's really kind of disgusting if you can make them keep sacrificing guys and build up your general and then just swing for, you know, a full like 12 points of commander damage just with one swing, and they don't have a board, and then you control their board, or you control their creatures. It's rare that it happens, but when it does, it feels so good. And lastly, I want to talk about these three enchantments we got from Innistrad. Endless Ranks of the Dead creates our tokens. Secrets of the Dead with Gravecrawler, like I said, MVP. This is how we can draw a whole lot of cards, and if we have too many cards in hand, we do have a zombie infestation, so we can dump all these extra cards, make even more tokens, and then, you know, tokens are big from our lords and our artifacts, and you can make a whole lot of big old gigantic zombies pretty quickly that way. And Rooftop Storm, I don't know that I actually want to keep in the deck, because it's kind of like a combo piece that I don't really like to do that kind of stuff in more casual formats, or I can cast my commander for free, cast Phage for free. If I have Gravecrawler and Grimgrin, I can make him infinity if I want to, because he costs nothing and I can sacrifice him for nothing. And so it's there for, say, like a big, like, say, 7-player pod, which we do quite often. If I just want to end the game and go home and get some sleep or something, then that's why I kind of still have it there. I wouldn't really want to use it, say, in a more casual format if I didn't have to, but it's there if needed. And last of all, we're running 3 Cabal Coffers, one of which actually being Cabal Coffers. Crypt of Agadim, similar effect. The one new card we do have from Theros is Nykthos, Shrine to Nyx. Just a way to generate a ton of black mana, as the devotion for some of these creatures is just huge. Like Phage will give you 4, Zombie Trailblazers 3, and all of your lords are at least 2, sometimes 3. Well, I guess Diregraph is the odd man out here. But aside from that, our land base is pretty much what you'd expect. Watery Grave, things like that, Crumbling Necropolis. But one of the kind of esoteric lands I do run is Lake of the Dead, which is an older card that those of you who are newer to the game might not recognize instantly. This is a great way to quickly push out some of your heavier costing cards. There we go. Out a little faster sooner in the game is you can ramp up pretty quickly by turn 2 and maybe sneak out maybe Grimgrin if you have another blue mana floating around. So this is kind of an oldie but a goodie, shall we say. And lastly, this is just my soapbox. Before we had your Shards of Alara with, your rock and roll and your makeout parties, is what was called Crosis, was that color combination. So Crosis. All right, so that's the deck. I have a lot of fun playing this deck. It's a little slow, but if it can get going and get some early ramp with Lake of the Dead and a couple other effects, we should be able to kind of put a stranglehold on our opponent. But more than that, I'm excited just to play some Commander. I'm going to be playing with David McDarby. I'm really looking forward to it. So I'm going to shut up and let's do some battling.